Can you see me?
In this video, we're going to step inside the mysterious world of occultism, a realm where the boundary between the known and the mysterious blurs, and where secrets of the universe are whispered to those who dare to listen. Today, we're going on a journey into the deepest depths of occult knowledge through an iceberg. The iceberg starts pretty tame with well-known occult topics at the top, and then as we move lower into the depths, we'll get into some pretty obscure and interesting topics that not many have heard of. We'll be starting in the third tier of this iceberg, skipping the first and second as they contain pretty well-known topics like crystals and meditation, and so we could spend more time on the deeper, less well-known tiers. So starting with tier 3, neopaganism. The roots of neopaganism can be traced back to the 19th century. This is when Western societies experienced a resurgence of interest in folklore, mythology, and the occult. Scholars and writers began to study and romanticize ancient pagan cultures, often viewing them as more in tune with nature and less dogmatic than the Abrahamic religions. One of the most influential and well-known branches of neopaganism is Wicca, which I'm sure most of you have heard of. Wicca was developed by figures like Gerald Gardner in the mid-20th century, but other branches of Wicca that are less talked about also rose around the early mid-20th century as well. These include a Celtic magical order, the British woodcraft movement, and the Church of Aphrodite. But neopaganism today is really a product of American counterculture of the 1960s and 1970s. So like the Romantics, the neopagans of these decades saw in ancient paganism a cure for the spiritual alienation of modern society. The Golden Dawn. In late 19th century England, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn emerged as a secretive society dedicated to magic and mysticism. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn has achieved nearly legendary status, and for a number of good reasons. The most important is probably the notoriety of Aleister Crowley, the self-proclaimed wickedest man in the world. But Crowley was only one of the well-known figures of the movement. The other well-known figures include the poet William Yeats and also the novelist Arthur Machen. The order was founded by Dr. Westcott Mathers and Dr. Woodward, and the order's mysterious allure stemmed from its amalgamation of various magical traditions. So their origin story began in 1887 when Dr. Westcott acquired a questionable manuscript which contained the outline of a magical ritual. The manuscript may have been a draft of a secret society ritual by some other person, now unknown, or it could have been notes on a ritual that someone had seen or read about. But when Mathers had taken it and kind of like constructed it, added things to it, and finished it, the result was an amalgamation of magic rituals and traditions. The initial initiation into the Golden Dawn was actually held in a Freemason hall, and they were looking among master Freemasons to be their first initiates. At this point, the black magic aspect of the society was negligible, and it was really promoted as a group for research into Hermetic traditions. So despite the questionable origins of the manuscript, the Golden Dawn thrived as a hub for Hermetic traditions until Crowley's unconventional practices led to a division within the order. So the biggest thing that led to the split of the Golden Dawn could be traced back to the Horrors trial in 1900. And so this trial further tarnished the reputation of the Golden Dawn. So basically, someone stole their sacred rituals and presented them in front of the courts. So now their once secret and sacred rituals were now on display for everyone to see, and they were seen as blasphemous by the judge and also ridiculed by the people of the court. And this just led to the Golden Dawn's founding members battling over its direction and it ultimately becoming fragmented. Tulpas. The term tulpa comes from Tibetan Buddhism, and it means to build or to construct. In Tibetan spiritual practice, advanced practitioners would create tulpas through meditation and visualization to serve various purposes, such as protection or to guide them. Creating a tulpa typically involves a practitioner focusing their thoughts and intentions on a specific idea or form over an extended period of time. This concentrated mental effort gives the tulpa its shape, character, and even some autonomy. And what sets tulpas apart from just imaginary friends or daydreams is the belief that once it's significantly developed, the tulpa can take on a life of its own. They can think, act, and communicate independently, sometimes even surprising their creators. Chaos magic. Chaos magic is a modern and eclectic form of magic that emerged in the late 20th century. It split from more traditional occult systems by embracing a highly individualistic and pragmatic approach to magic, unlike the rigid belief systems that they had previously. Now, chaos magicians could emphasize flexibility within their practice and use whatever belief systems or symbols suited their purpose for that specific ritual or spell. Key principles of chaos magic include the idea that the belief itself is a tool that can be adopted and discarded at will depending on its practical utility. Rituals are often stripped down to their essential components, and the focus is on achieving results rather than adhering to some specific tradition. Chaos magicians draw their inspiration from diverse sources, blending elements from various spiritual traditions, pop culture, and personal experiences. And an example of chaos magic would be creating a sigil, where practitioners create personalized symbols to represent their desires. Pagan origins of Christian holidays. Many Christian holidays have pagan origins as a result of early Christianity's efforts to adapt that culture's existing customs to facilitate conversion. For example, Christmas, which is celebrated on December 25th, coincides with the Roman festival of Saturnalia, a time of feasting and gift-giving. It's not Jesus' birthday. The date also aligns with the winter solstice, a significant pagan event. And Easter, marking the resurrection of Jesus, actually corresponds with the pagan festival of, I believe it's also pronounced Easter, even though it's spelled a bit different, which is just celebrating spring's arrival. And Halloween, or All Hallows Eve, has roots in the Celtic festival of Samhain, when the veil between the living and the dead was believed to be thin. And so, like I said, this is basically the church's strategic integration of pagan traditions into early Christianity in order to facilitate easier conversion of people into the religion. Shamanism. Shamanism is an ancient and diverse spiritual practice found in cultures all around the world. It's often considered one of the earliest forms of organized religion, with roots dating back tens of thousands of years. In shamanic traditions, individuals known as shamans or medicine people play a central role. Shamans are revered for their ability to enter altered states of consciousness, often induced by drumming, chanting, or hallucinogenic plants. In these states, they communicate with spirits, deities, and ancestors to gain insights or perform healing. Shamans are often seen as a middle point between the human realm and the spirit realm. The Kybalion. The Kybalion was written under the pseudonym The Three Initiates, and it's a 20th century occult book that explores the principles of Hermeticism. It claims to pare down the core teachings of Hermeticism into 7 universal principles called the Hermetic laws, and I'll go over those briefly now. The first law is the law of mentalism, which means that the universe is mental in nature. So the universe responds intelligently back to you. The second law is the law of correspondence. So this can basically be pared down to the phrase as above, so below. The third law is the law of vibration. So everything is always in movement. Everything is always vibrating at all times, down to your very atoms. The fourth law is a law of polarity. So everything has duality. Every pair has its opposite. The fifth is the law of rhythm. Everything flows out and in, and everything has its tides. Everything rises and falls. The sixth is the law of cause and effect, which is pretty self-explainable. Every cause has its effect. And the final law is the law of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and also its feminine principles. So while the origins of the kybalion remain mysterious, it draws heavily from Hermetic texts and other occult sources. The Kybalion emphasizes the idea that understanding these principles enables individuals to gain mastery over their lives, thoughts, and experiences. Tier 4, the Kabbalah. Kabbalah is a mysterious and esoteric tradition within Judaism with roots dating back to the early Jewish mystical writings of the 12th century. Its name means receiving or tradition in Hebrew, signifying its secretive nature. The teachings of the Kabbalah focus on understanding the nature of God, the cosmos, and the human soul, and how they're all connected. Metaphysics. Metaphysics is a branch of philosophy that examines fundamental questions about the nature of reality, existence, and the relationship between physical and non-physical realms. It has roots in the works of ancient Greek philosophers like Aristotle, who coined the term metaphysics as the study of what comes after the physical. Throughout history, metaphysics has explored topics like the nature of being, causality, the existence of abstract concepts, and the mind-body connection. Gnosticism. Gnosticism is derived from the word gnosis, which in Greek means knowledge, referring to a form of spiritual or mystical knowledge that's considered to be transcendent or transformative in nature. Gnostics sought salvation through secretive knowledge, believing in a hidden divine wisdom that can lead them to enlightenment. Gnostic beliefs challenge mainstream Christianity, as they thought that the material world was the creation of a flawed, malevolent deity called the demiurge. This led to theological disputes with early Christian leaders, and they eventually labeled Gnosticism as heretical. But despite suppression, Gnostic ideas persisted and have influenced alternative spiritual traditions. The mystery of the Lourdes. A young peasant girl named Bernadette Soubirous, don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but in Lourdes, France in 1858, she claimed to have seen the Virgin Mary multiple times near a grotto in town. These visions drew widespread attention and controversy. During one of these encounters, a spring emerged, and soon it became associated with miraculous healing abilities. The local clergy initially doubted Bernadette's claims, but the church launched an investigation, and eventually in 1862, the Catholic Church officially recognized these apparitions as authentic. And Lourdes became a major pilgrimage site, attracting millions of visitors seeking spiritual solace and also physical healing. The sanctuary of Our Lady Lourdes was constructed around the grotto, and Lourdes Medical Bureau was established to document these miraculous healings. And to this day, the site continues to be a place of faith, prayer, and healing. Thelema. Thelema was founded by Aleister Crowley in the early 20th century, and it became a spiritual and philosophical movement but it was rooted in Crowley's mystical encounter with an entity called Aiwass in 1904. At its core, the principle of thelema is advocating individual freedom and self-discovery. Practitioners aim to discern and fulfill their true will and unique purpose in life. But controversies have surrounded thelema throughout its history. Crowley's provocative and kind of like free living lifestyle, including drug use and unconventional sexual practices, fueled public scrutiny and condemnation. Accusations of Satanism and immorality were widespread. But despite these controversies, thelema has attracted a dedicated following and influenced various occult and spiritual traditions. Psychokinesis. Psychokinesis is a paranormal phenomenon suggesting that the human mind can influence physical objects or events without any known physical mechanisms. Its historical background is closely tied to the study of psychic abilities and parapsychology. One pivotal figure in the exploration of psychokinesis was J.B. Rhine. In the mid-20th century, Rhine conducted groundbreaking experiments at Duke University, aiming to provide scientific credibility to psychokinesis. His research primarily involved testing individuals' abilities to influence random events, such as dice rolls, using only their mental focus. Rhine coined the term extrasensory perception, or ESP, and conducted numerous controlled experiments to measure psychic phenomena, including psychokinesis. But despite Rhine's efforts and enthusiasm and his controlled experiments, the scientific community has remained skeptical because the results are really hard to replicate and they lacked consistency. Familiars. Familiars are often depicted as supernatural or magical creatures like cats, owls, or small demons, and they're believed to assist practitioners in their magical endeavors. These animal companions are thought to possess a spiritual or psychic connection to their counterparts, aiding them in rituals, divination, and spellcasting. So familiars are not just any animal or pet. They need to have a special spiritual or psychic connection to their human. Paracelsus. So you might not know Paracelsus, whose real name was Philippus Aurelius Theophrastus Bombastus.
They call me Mr. Bombastic, friendly fantastic, touchman on me box, she says I'm Mr. Rowe.
Yeah, I'm not gonna even pretend I know how to pronounce those names, but I can see why they called him Paracelsus. So you might not know him by name, but you'll definitely recognize him by his pursuits, which included finding the Philosopher's Stone and the elixir of life. Paracelsus was a Swiss-German physician, alchemist, and philosopher of the Renaissance period. He made significant contributions to the field of medicine, chemistry, and alchemy, earning him the title Father of Modern Toxicology. Paracelsus challenged the traditional medical practices of this time and advocated for a more empirical and experimental approach to medicine. But what he's most well known for in terms of the occult is his search for the Philosopher's Stone and the elixir of life. Paracelsus also emphasized the importance of individualized treatment and believed in the body's ability to heal itself, contributing to the development of holistic and alternative medicine. John Dee. John Dee was renowned as an English mathematician, astronomer, astrologer, and occultist during the Renaissance. He served as an advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, and his mathematical and navigational expertise was crucial for England's maritime explorations. He coined the term the British Empire and advocated for expansion of England's influence. But one of the things that Dee is most known for was his partnership with Edward Kelly, a medium and alchemist. Together, they claimed to communicate with angels through a crystal ball, and this became known as angelic conversations or scrying. These mystical sessions led to the development of Enochian magic, which was a complex system of ceremonial magic involving angelic language and symbols. Dee believed that this angelic communication could unlock hidden wisdom and spiritual insights. Dee's deep involvement in the occult, particularly his reliance on supernatural guidance, surrounded him in both admiration and controversy. While some saw him as a visionary mystic, others accused him of dabbling in black magic and sorcery. Blood magic. Blood magic is a mystical and occult practice that involves the use of blood as a potent and symbolic element in rituals and spells. It's rooted in various cultural and esoteric traditions, often associated with the belief that blood carries life force and it can establish a more powerful connection with the spirit realm. Practitioners of blood magic might use their own blood or the blood of animals in their rituals. But using your own blood, I think that back in the day, using the blood of animals was more common. But nowadays, using your own blood is probably more common to use in rituals because it's not like you need a lot of it. The act of drawing blood is typically done through just like a small controlled cut or prick. So blood magic is often used for enhancing the potency of spells, or you could also use it to make offerings to deities or spirits, or seal magical pacts or contracts. Tantra. Tantra is an ancient spiritual practice that originated in India in the 5th and 9th centuries CE. It encompasses a diverse range of beliefs, rituals, and techniques aimed at achieving spiritual growth, enlightenment, and union with the divine. Tantra stands out for its profound recognition of the interconnectedness of all things, emphasizing the integration of both spiritual and material aspects of life. One of Tantra's more fascinating aspects is its acknowledgement of Kundalini energy, which is symbolized as a coiled serpent at the base of the spine. Practitioners work to awaken and guide this energy through practices like meditation, mantra chanting, and ritual, aiming to reach elevated states of consciousness. And while Tantra is sometimes associated with sexuality, it transcends more than just the physical. It includes practices that engage the senses and explore the sacredness of the body, but its ultimate goal is spiritual realization. Demonology. Demonology encompasses a wide range of perspectives and beliefs, but one common theme in demonology is the exploration of hierarchical structures among demons, their characteristics, and their roles in different belief systems. Demons, as understood in demonology, can take different forms, but they're often depicted as non-human entities separate from souls or disembodied spirits that have never inhabited a physical body. Across different cultures, there's different types of demons, and it's important to note that not all demons are bad or evil. Many are considered neutral or even benevolent. And there's even demons that are associated with nature or they act as protectors. The classification of demons in demonology can encompass a wide range of entities. Some examples are angels who fell from heaven or familiars. One noteworthy figure within demonology is Richard DeConte, and some sources claim that DeConte authored texts related to demonology, including instructions on how to summon and work with demons. These texts often attributed names, ranks, and descriptions of individual demons, both collectively and categorically. The Dionysian Mysteries. The Dionysian Mysteries, rooted in ancient Greece and Rome, were a set of rituals that often incorporated intoxicants and trance dancing and music. These rituals aimed to liberate individuals from societal constraints by allowing them to reconnect with a more natural state. And they specifically provided a form of liberation for marginalized members in society, including slaves, outlaws, and non-citizens. The origins of the Dionysian Mysteries are somewhat mysterious themselves, but they do have some connections to some cults at the time. These rituals were closely linked to the cultivation of the grapevine, wine production, and the symbolic meaning of the wine's life cycle. Wine was not just a beverage, but it was believed to embody the living essence of Dionysus, and its consumption was associated with possession by that god's spirit. Other plants and elements such as poppy, honey, and beeswax were often involved in the cult's rituals as well, as they were believed to enhance the wine's psychoactive effects. These rituals were concerned with life, death, rebirth, and the liberation of the human spirit. Spirit possession also played a significant role in these rites, allowing participants to escape societal norms and reconnect with their primal nature. The Great White Brotherhood. This is not what you think it is. This is not what I thought it was. So, I'm going to explain it to you now. The Great White Brotherhood is a prominent concept within New Age spirituality, and it consists of spiritually advanced beings with extraordinary wisdom and power. They're often referred to as the masters of ancient wisdom, the ascended masters, or the hierarchy. This mystical group is believed to communicate spiritual teachings through chosen individuals. The roots of this idea trace back to the late 18th century when Karl von Eckarthausen introduced the concept of a secret organization known as the Council of Light. Aleister Crowley, which we already know about, he was influenced by these ideas, and so when he became involved in the Order of the Golden Dawn, he claimed that they represented the visible aspect of the Great White Brotherhood. Quariea cultus. Austin Osman Spare, a prominent figure in the world of occultism, formulated the Quariea cultus as his kind of magic religious philosophy. This belief system was shaped by his rejection of Christianity, and so at its core, the Quariea cultus centers around only two key concepts, the Zos and the Kia. Spare defined Zos as the human mind and body, and he even adopted the term as a pseudonym for himself. He drew inspiration for this word from ancient Greek, combining the word zo, meaning life, and zoion, meaning animal. And with the unusual appearance of the letter Z in English adding to its exotic dimension. On the other hand, Kia referred to the universal mind or ultimate power, and its origins are traced back to Eastern terms like Chi. Spare emphasized the significance of the unconscious mind and considered it to be the wellspring of inspiration, while he regarded the conscious mind as being obstructive. Dream hacking. In 2021, 38 experts specializing in sleep and dream research raised an alarm cautioning that dream advertising could become a reality. Oh God, that would be awful. So, dream hacking involves manipulating or influencing a person's dreams through various techniques and technologies. So you personally could dream hack yourself by using things like hypnosis, and that could create a good outcome in your life. But they are saying that advertising companies, marketing companies could use psychology and technology to hack your subconscious mind and make you dream about the things that they want to advertise. So that's pretty scary. But dream hacking can be used in a good way as well if you do it to yourself. Dark shamanism or black shamanism. Black shamans are often associated with working with evil spirits, while white shamans are seen as working with good spirits. Black shamans have the same ability to communicate with spirits, just like white shamans, but they also were thought of to be able to transform into animals or fly. Black shamanism can actually be traced back to Mongolian society, and in Mongolian society, the spiritual hierarchy was complex, but it basically consisted of good white spirits and more terrifying black spirits. There was also a class division among the spirits, with the white spirits being known as nobles and the black spirits being known as commoners, and a third category including evil spirits of slaves and non-human goblins. So, you know, this is obviously another culture's thing. I have never heard of separating shamanism into dark and white or black and white. And to me, most shamans know that there's a duality when dealing with spirits. There's good and bad. But yeah, I don't want to say that it sounds racist, or I don't want to say that it is racist because I don't know. It just sounds like it to me because I'm looking at it through a Western lens. And yeah, based on my research that I did, I couldn't see like if it was rooted in anything like that. But yeah, you guys can let me know. This one is kind of weird though. The ghost dance. The ghost dance was a sacred ceremony integrated into various Native American belief systems. The central idea behind the ghost dance was that performing this dance would reunite the living with the spirits of the dead and enlist these spirits to aid them in their struggles. The ghost dance also had political implications, though, particularly in the context of the U.S. government's actions and policies towards Native Americans, and it ultimately led to the Wounded Knee Massacre in 1890, where many Lakota, including women and children, lost their lives. Despite the tragic events at Wounded Knee, the ghost dance continued as an underground religious movement, and its influence persisted in Native American communities. Quariea. Quariea is an esoteric and magical training program founded by Josephine McCarthy and Frater Acher. It offers a comprehensive and modern approach to magical education, and it's designed to be accessible to anyone interested in the Western mystical and occult traditions. Quariea's curriculum is available for free online and includes extensive written materials, instructional videos, and guided meditations. What sets Quariea apart is its emphasis on a self-paced and self-guided learning experience, allowing students to progress through the curriculum at their own speed. And I know this sounds like an ad for them. It's not an ad. I'm just trying to pare this down and make it as like comprehensive and understandable for what they're trying to do. But it does sound really cool that it's free. And I've never come across something like this before online. So this is my first time learning about something like this. So Quariea combines elements from various magical traditions, including Hermeticism, Kabbalah, and witchcraft. And it aims to provide a holistic, eclectic approach to magic. So, yeah, it sounds pretty cool. Okay, this is the meme tier. And we've gotten here. So, the Pope is the Antichrist. So, some theorists point to passages in the Bible, particularly the book of Revelation, to claim that the Pope or the Roman Catholic Church fits into the description of the Antichrist. For example, some might argue that certain titles and symbols associated with the Pope, such as Vicar of the Son of God or the Papal Tiara, contain numerical values that add up to 666, which is associated with the Antichrist. Another common idea within these theories is that the Pope is part of a globalist plot to establish a one-world government or a new world order. They suggest that the Pope, as a religious leader, plays a key role in this conspiracy. Other beliefs involve predictions about end times, where the Pope is seen as the bringer of apocalyptic events. They might cite various signs and symbols within the Vatican as evidence of these predictions. For example, the Papal Tiara A triple crown, typically worn by popes, is sometimes viewed as a symbol of the Pope's authority. Some theorists claim that the 3 crowns represent the unholy trinity, with the Pope as the Antichrist. And another example are the cross keys of St. Peter, which are sometimes interpreted as a sign of the Pope's control over access to heaven and hell. Another symbol that they say signifies that the Pope might be the Antichrist is the fisherman's ring. So the Pope's fisherman's ring traditionally bears the image of St. Peter casting his net. And this is seen to be a symbol of deception, with the Pope luring people into a false faith. All right, so I'm not too sure if I buy into the Pope is an Antichrist idea. Well, I'm pretty sure that I don't. But, you know, it's out there. It is an interesting concept. It is something that people believe. So it is interesting to learn about. But yeah, I thought that this one was pretty fun, though. I think that I know a lot about the occult, but there was a lot of stuff that I learned, a lot of things that I didn't know about. I hope that you guys learned a lot and that I gave you little seeds of knowledge that you can now go plant and cultivate to form your own opinions and your own little gardens of knowledge. But yeah, let me know what you thought, if you had any questions or if you had any differing opinions on anything, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Thank you.